Fort Myers High was a beautiful thing to me. Fort Myers is the reason I am who I am.
When you hear the name Fort Myers Greenwave football, the first thing you think of is high standards.
I couldn't wait to go play for Fort Myers because it was a tradition in our family.
I mean, longevity and tradition is the key around here, and I think 100 years is just a testament to that.
Get there. Good job, Money. Good job, Money.
Right now we're doing just a regular practice. It's a real special year for us, you know. It's Fort Myers High School's 100th year of football.
It's just a wonderful experience to be in this situation because you're playing with a wonderful program. I mean, it's been going on for a while.
When you talk about 100 years, a full century, you're spanning multiple generations.
I have kids say, well, I played football at Fort Myers High School. I said, well, I wore that green before you did, son. We started playing, you know, as 7th and 8th graders. And then, like your freshman year, you went to the B squad. And then, you know, if you were good enough, you moved on up. When I wore it in the 7th and 8th grade was like one of the old leather helmets. And I don't think I had a face bar until, golly, I must have been sophomore. And it didn't have much padding up in the top.
We never played anybody in Lee County back then. We was always traveling. When we traveled, we was as far as Bradenton and Arcadia, Wauchula, Sarasota, Winter Haven.
Our 1957 team went undefeated. We had some pretty good boys back then. Then we played the South Carolina state champs, and we beat them, I think, 14-13.
When the game was over and we won, everybody would go through town blowing the horns and everything, and you know, it was a smaller town, and I think the county was only 45,000 people back then.
From a coaching, you know, usually two names come to mind. Of course, Coach Sam and his longevity and success, and then back in the 50s, a gentleman named Jock Sutherland.
Coach Sutherland tried to get everybody to go to church on Sundays, and he was a good coach. Passionate too about winning and losing.
1, 2, 3, hey!
The two golden eras of Fort Myers football were the 50s, then Coach Sam's era, starting in the 70s and especially the 90s and the early 2000s was probably the golden rush. We had a run from 1971 through 2002 with just one losing season.
It's just a culture of greatness, a culture of family. It hasn't changed since I've been back here as a coach. I mean, it was the same it was that way when I was a player. It was that way, you know, hearing about it growing up, and it's still that way today.
I got a phone call from a gentleman up in the Orlando area that used to work a lot with the Florida high school football scene and let us know that we were one of only 5 schools that had amassed 600 wins. You know, we display on the side of our field house our win total. It's kind of a tradition that after a Friday night win on Monday, the kids, you know, we change the number. In terms of some of our most decorated athletes, you know, you have all the way back a gentleman named Sam Bailey. Everybody knows Santa Bell, his connections to the Bailey General Store. Sam Bailey was actually our first player ever drafted in the NFL back, you know, way back in the early part of the program. And then moving on through to guys like Eric Riley and Clyde Allen, and of course, I would have to say our most decorated athlete, Jamie German.
In my personal opinion, Jamie German was the best athlete that I've ever seen.
My main goal every time was to not only do my part, but to also make the crowd say, ooh.
He had everything. He could jump, he could run, he was smart, he could diagnose plays. He made everybody look like a great coach.
We had to probably be arguably one of the greatest high school teams ever to go through Fort Myers High School. We got our ring size. That's how confident we was going to win the state championship. We went to the state semifinal 2 years in a row and lost to St. Thomas Aquinas. I had the opportunity to go to the University of Miami, play with the Atlanta Falcons and the Cleveland Browns. There's nothing compared to my years at Fort Myers High School. Nothing. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
The program has a lot of historical significance, and a lot of that that historical significance evolves around Coach Sam and Coach Sam Jr. When you hear the name Sirianni, you think of Fort Myers High School.
We found out a few years ago that we're the second father-son duo in Florida that have, each of us have 100 wins, which was nice. We're the only father-son duo that have 100 wins plus at the same school. I only knew one calendar. The calendar revolved around, in our family, what the timeline was for my dad's job.
Coach Sam preached all the time, do your part, stay disciplined, and if you do that, everything else will fall in place.
If you played football for him, you had no choice but to be a decent citizen. He told me that you have two choices here. If you come play for me, you're gonna walk a straight, narrow line. If you don't decide to do that, then you won't be part of this football team.
When he retired, he was in the top 5 in the state history of wins. He's in 2 coaching Hall of Fames in 2 different states, which is unique. But probably the biggest compliment, the most flattering thing is, sure, when people think of Coach Sam, they think of Fort Myers High. But when people come up to you in the community and people talk about his impact to the county and the community and not just Fort Myers, that kind of puts in perspective of how important he was to so many lives he touched and generations of lives.
It was the alumni's decision that they wanted to do something in his honor. They created that memorial entrance into the stadium, and that entrance it's copied off of the Los Angeles Coliseum in California. The statue faced one way as people came in, and then when the game started, the statue rotated like he was watching the game.
I think it's a phenomenal thing. What Coach Sam did is build that program, built the family around it, built the tradition.
And I think it's just a great addition to show Coach Sam and everything he means to the community and the school as a whole.
It's well-deserved, it's beautiful, and couldn't ask for anything more.
I was lucky enough to play on 4 playoff teams. Winning was great, playing was great, got to play with and against some great players, but the relationships, I think, is really what that was about and kind of what Fort Myers football is about.
Coming here and being in this environment for 4 years and being around the group of people that coached me really, matured me and put me in a better place going out of high school. We always say, once you're a Greenie, you're always a Greenie, and I think that's a true statement.
It's just an awesome feeling at Fort Myers to be in such a tradition-rich place and have so many great football players play there, and so many other young men who were brought up in that system were just, I think, very fortunate to be part of all that.
If you didn't go to Fort Myers High School, you really wouldn't understand. You definitely had to go there to understand the feeling of what it feels like to be a Greenie. And I'm a Greenie to the day I die.